This is Do By Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Alex Cox and Merlin Mann. This week's challenge, move your pencil until a secret falls out.
Hello!
Hello, Merlin Mann. How are you?
I'm great, Alex. How are you?
Good.
Good. It's a beautiful February here.
I'm curious about your weather. I know we talk about weather a lot, but it is snowing here, and I'm just thrilled. I played in the snow earlier. But do you miss seasons as someone who did Ohio and then Florida?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes. I miss I guess the way I would put it's a good question. The way I would put it is that I miss seasons being where they normally are and for somewhere near the normal amount of time. We've got, you could, if an alien came to San Francisco, and many have, they would just think that, like, oh, this place is just different. Like, every neighborhood has a different set of seasons. But, yeah, I mean, I miss, like, when other people, you don't get to share that, oh, the leaves are changing or whatever, and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I miss it a little bit, but you must like it. You're still there.
Oh, yes, but that is such a desire I have, that there wouldn't be any discussion of weather because it's a less interesting thing that we share, and it's also a point of contention in especially Chicago.
You share with whom?
The people around you.
Okay.
When you have the common experience of, like, yes, big snowstorm, or, oh man, it's really hot.
Yeah.
That is the way people either start parties or start podcasts. But you don't have any, like, cultural, is there cultural anger around San Francisco? I've been thinking a lot about your city because the challenge is about pencils, which doesn't sound like it makes sense until you learn about the history of Blackwing pencils, but challenge later. And the history of San Francisco is so interesting because there isn't, like, that bond about weather or the stupid mores that come with it, like dibs. Are you familiar with dibs?
No.
It's when
the parking space things.
Yeah. Parking spaces. It's like the very American
dig out a
idea.
spot and put down a lawn chair. Is that it?
Yes, specifically a lawn chair.
How's that not about parking?
Because now it's become about, like, if you are at the park, you will dig out a little space where you sit at the park, and then you'd think, okay,
and you hope no one parks there.
They
did call it a park.
Really hope.
The clue was in the name.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Dibs. Yeah. I don't know. I moved here pretty late in the history of the city, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about that. But I don't know. A cultural anger about that? None that I'm aware of.
The history of your city is one of websites. Do you want to talk about your new website?
The history of our city is one about websites.
No, I mean, not really, but
did you want to talk about Blackwing pencils? Because I don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
you seem enthused about it, so you should talk about that.
That was our challenge, Dog Challenge. It was to I don't know what we decided to call it, but someone,
I do. Don't worry. But what is it about?
Okay.
So you want to talk about pencils, and so Blackwing pencils, which are kind of pencil. So that it has a history tied to San Francisco, huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, with not so much specifically Blackwing, I suppose. No. Hold up. Hold up.
Here's the thing: is
crafting pencils.
You can't make me quit. You can't do it.
No,
I will be here for all of this. I will just be trying to follow along. So. It's not really about Blackwing. Is it also kind of not really about San Francisco? What's the angle here? Is it about weather? Is it about weather pencil?
Yeah. Blackwing pencils are known as drafting pencils, right? And drafting pencils became really popular, not to draft necessarily, like, you'd think drafting pencils would be for creating some sort of architecture, right? Like, or at least for me, I was like,
I would use construction
things.
equipment for buildings. I think they would be good for the preliminary blueprints of a building.
Yeah, but
That would be good use for a sketching pencil, probably.
I didn't
I mean, a
know.
better
I've learned-
use.
See,
I've been
learned
out
so much
the
about pencils.
trades for a while now. Excuse me?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
Okay. Oh, that's rare.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
But Blackwing was really, really popular on in the West on railroads and on gold digging or gold shifting sites, just because they didn't roll. That was such a big part of their construction.
Oh, was the hexagonal barrel their idea?
No, the how would you call the bottom butt? Is that what a hexagonal arrow is? That was Ticonderoga or what grade schoolers use.
Right.
Ticonderoga.
It's okay.
Nope,
It's okay. But okay. Just okay. So Ticonderoga, they came up with the hexagonal idea. Now that's a very clever idea. Your pencil can still roll, but it won't just take off like a baby carriage or something. It's got something to resist being, just round in shape. And here's the thing: once you start getting things that are slightly irregularly shaped, I feel like sometimes it's an adjustment at first, whether that's your flashlight or whatever. But eventually, you start disliking the things that roll.
I don't like anything that rolls. That isn't meant specifically.
No, I understand. Roll. No, I think that's one of the things I admire about you is the distinctions that you make between, say, a tire on its side or a tire on its tire edge. I think
it's very important.
It's strong. When a tire at rest will stay at rest. That's what Kierkegaard said.
Did he have anything to say about tire swings though? Because I made a really definitive statement.
They don't call it that. They don't call it that in Europe, but yeah.
Wait, really? What do they call it? Tire lynching? What is it called?
What, I know every language now?
All right, fair. But
what? What am I, Berlitz? Jeez. These are neat. I know almost nothing about these pencils apart from the fact that I like them. But I feel like there's, every company has to have a story now. And I think they have a story about isn't there like a whole story about like reviving the company in like the 90s or 2000s?
Yes, I don't like that you said every company needs to have a story now because
it wasn't my idea. That would definitely not be my idea. If it were my idea, I would have rejected it very early on.
I'm just having flashbacks to every website I've gone to where I go to the about page trying to find a phone number or
and you get to learn about their journey.
Yeah, I really like Tito's vodka. I don't need to know about the distillery in Texas.
Check it out. Two generationally wealthy guys from Palo Alto invented something. That's cool. Huh.
It really does always go back to San Francisco.
I always think of those TV commercials. You won't have seen these because you don't see a lot of TV commercials. But over the years, there's a brand of a DTC brand of clothing called Untuck It. And their value proposition is that they make shirts for assigned shirt at birth men who you don't have to tuck them in. And so, but they don't look weird. Their idea is, here's your problem. This is their business problem they're solving, is that men have to wear shirts. And I guess men don't want to tuck their shirts in, but if you get a shirt with what we used to call tails on it, you look unkempt. You look like you're staggering home from a night out. Now, Untuck It, they came up with this idea of a shirt that you don't have to tuck in. And the two guys stand there like bolt upright, staring at the camera, explaining their story and like what they had to go through in life before they designed their company.
I'm looking at, God, these men right now.
No, you don't need to, you're real stupid. Don't need to do that. That's just an example.
I really want to. Okay. No, right. I think they're a wonderful example of an
people can't see it.
brand.
One thing, and I don't want to link to it.
I know,
so.
but you gave a wonderful description without. I think
two men in shirts. This is my description.
Two men who are very excited about the fact that their shirts aren't tucked in, which isn't a thing. I thought you could present in how you stand until I saw this man and the various diagrams they provide.
Again, I don't have a way to see this.
You don't need to.
Yes, and I can't claim that there's that many things that I learned from watching Shark Tank that are useful in my day to day, but watching enough episodes of Shark Tank, whether or not it's a good show, whether or not it's an accurate show, whether or not we're seeing what actually happens, there is a thing that I do feel like I picked up that at least makes sense to me, which is a very, I want to say like, it's kind of a Mr. Wonderful thing, but it's definitely a Mark Cuban thing, where he like has such a good way of cutting straight to the thing that you think is unusual or a barrier to entry, better put, I guess. A barrier to entry that you've come up with is X. And he's so good at going like, wait a minute. Like, I think perhaps one way, if I were to try and pose as Mark Cuban, I would say, so your idea is go into this incredibly low profit, costly area for new businesses, being selling clothes. And now your unique thing is it's like every other shirt made, except it's not supposed to be tucked in. It's kind of like those people who come in and like, yeah, I made a bunch of pillows of like a child cradling baby's hands on Instagram, and prayer hands are like going to be really huge. And people are like, well, no, you're just making a pillow with something on it. Anybody could make that design, and you're not really a pillow company. You're a side hustle.
A side hustle specifically.
There's no barrier to entry at all. There's no IP to it. There's nothing. And this all might sound very unkind, but the whole point or the theoretical point of Shark Tank is that you've come up with something other people have not come up with, could not come up with, will not come up with. There's something special about what you've got, and that's what makes it worthwhile for a total stranger to have these theoretically successful people, invest in it. Right? Like you've come up with something that is different about some aspect of design, manufacturing, marketing, like whatever it is. And the fact that like you're the one who picks what the babies look like doesn't really make it that unique. And this just feels, I'm really not trying to single these guys out for, criticism, because I mean you got to have a business, but like it is funny that like their thing is, well, and I'm sure, I imagine anyway, that if you got a room full of PR people from Untuckit on the line, you'd hear about all the lives that were saved, but like to me it mostly just seems like they made a shorter shirt, and then acted like that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, there are confessionals. I know people can't see them, but I think it is important to know that there are confessionals.
Because they build them for priests?
Talking
about talking head thing?
Yeah, okay. About how it was the best gift.
Oh, like where they say, can we just have a minute? I want to call my other investor, that kind of thing?
I
don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'll just say it that one time, but okay. Yeah, so anyhow, what were we talking about? We're talking about pencils and how Blackwing didn't invent the hexagonal one, but they have a connection to San Francisco, you were going to tell us.
Oh, they have a connection with like the whole ruggedness idea. And when they did relaunch, like you said, and they're like, they have a page on their website that says our story and our values and about going back to the blue jean era, which all right. And just the whole, I don't know, the whole ruggedness of it. And I didn't
you could take it out gold mining and it wouldn't get all screwed up. You could just sharpen it with a knife, that kind of thing.
It wouldn't roll. Yes, you could sharpen it.
How many flat surfaces are there while you're gold mining? Like, is that I mean, like, apart from the saloon you go back to, like,
it won't roll off a rock, apparently, is the value
have you ever seen
proposition.
A rock? That's not how rocks do.
I mean, I've also never seen a nugget of gold, so I don't know. And
would you be able to know whether you're looking at one now? If you saw one, if somebody said, "Hey,
good question."
If somebody said, like I do with ChatGPT, I say, "Hey, what's this?" Like, would you be able to go, "Oh, that's a precious metal nugget"?
Yeah, but I could say it, and then there would be actually, it's magnesium fluoride, and it was painted gold, and then I would feel stupid and sad.
Magnesium fluoride. I like the sound of that. It makes you shit, but you do keep your teeth.
Is that what it does?
Well, see,
I want to create that. I should be on Shark Tank. Magnesium. Oh,
well, you can add stuff to magnesium that makes it not chelated. What's the word? There's a word for what they do to it. I literally don't care. But yeah, you can treat magnesium in such a way that it still helps your poops with or whatever, or sleep. I think a lot of people like it for sleep. The thing is, I'm pretty sure you can also get a dose transdermally, and people don't realize that when they take a magnesium bath. So basically, it's like
magnesium bath.
Well, do you know what a bath is?
I believe.
Imagine
it's when
putting
you're in
something with
water,
magnesium into that water.
But is it like you put like the powder in? I actually don't know what magnesium.
It's not really critical
like.
to keeping the show moving.
No, what's critical is I don't know.
Okay.
Is it like a bath bomb of magnesium?
Sure, but it gets in through your skin. It's not just through your mouth. It's not just through your yummy hole. It could also be through your pores and whatnot. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I had such a relaxing bath, but now I'm shitting and shitting. Watch out for magnesium is what I'm saying. But the fluoride is nice. Nothing wrong with that. Fluoride mandrake in ice cream, in children's ice cream. Hey, we can talk about the challenge if you want. I'm fine with that. I'll talk about whatever you want, within reason. As long as it's on this list of pre-approved topics, I'm happy to talk about it. I should have sent you a copy of that, by the way.
A copy of.
Oh, I made a list of pre-approved topics. This is not a good bit. So we can talk about that. We'll talk about whatever you want. We can talk about weather. We can talk about the government. Hi. Got my spine. I got my orange crush. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I want to hear about your pencil journey.
No. Okay, so the challenge this week was the short version of this is act like your pencil has a secret in it, and sharpen, use your pencil until you found a secret that you find satisfying. And my thing, because I'm not much, boy, is that ever generous. I'm not much of an artist. I can't draw to save my life, but I do like to form glyph-like letter forms that make words. And so that was the challenge. I like those kinds of funny. What would you call that? It's almost aligned with something like Oblique Strategies or Destroy This Notebook, like those kinds of things. That's what it's called, Destroy This Notebook? What's that called?
Yeah.
Anyway, a couple of people had mentioned that, this kind of reminds them of that, the kind of like weird scrawl that I'm and everybody else is doing. But yeah, that was the idea. Did you find any good secrets?
I didn't realize how much I valued the length of a pencil. And the reason I don't typically carry around Blackwing pencils is because they're really long and it takes
and you like them long, right? You prefer them?
No, I prefer them short so they
you
fit
like a little
in
chode,
my pocket.
little stubby guy.
Little
tuna can.
I would say one of average length, a bit of, I suppose, a chode, because it's like a quarter, not a quarter, like a quarter off of the black, or not black pencil, but like a typical pencil. So shorter
like
than a Blackwing, shorter than a Ticonderoga, something that can be as a little bit shorter than the average smartphone. This is important.
Perhaps I'm being extremely stupid here, but I feel like what you're struggling to say is a pencil that's been sharpened enough times that it's about 4 inches long. Does it get actually stubbier? Does it get thicker? Is it like a teen's pubes? How is it getting thicker as you're shaving it?
No, but I feel like the tip does last longer.
Then what?
Is how you use it. Then a longer a pencil. I think it's how I am writing with it. Okay. Just that I guess it's softer. It could be also
softer lead. The lead gets softer in the middle.
No, softer lead, and I'm not pushing as hard also because there is something in the back of my mind that is, if I break this pencil, I don't have a pen with me because I'm just carrying around a little chody pencil. and field notes, which was how I was trying to find my pencils. It was secret. And I end up writing even more intentionally because I'm worried about the pencil in my pocket breaking. And I thought that
It sounds like this has
was
caused a lot of stress
nice.
for you, and I apologize for that.
No, not stress. Introspection. No, not. I wasn't walking
Charity
around
pencil.
sweating, literally sweating about
Good.
my
It is pretty
Blackwing
cold there to be
pencil.
sweating.
Yeah, well,
Do you have a lot of cultural
layers.
anger about weather there?
I
It's called dibs.
resentment over dibs, but is resentment anger? That's like a whole chapter of the trauma book by the Dutch guy. But I also lost the eraser of 2 pencils, and that didn't bother me. And I don't know.
Okay.
I have become more of a not a physical pencil. All pencils, I hope, are physical. A manual pencil? What's the technical term for something that's not a mechanical pencil, which is normally what I
pencil?
carry? Just a really? Hold on. Chatty G, what's a non-mechanical pencil called? All right, it's just called a pencil. Okay. Fine. Yep.
ChatGPT can make errors, so be sure to check all important information. It's very important. Cool. Yeah, I like these. This represents 1.5 tweaks to the way I normally just like spend my day. Which is to say that I usually have this one like A5 size notebook, and I use a tool, pen with that. That's my I don't know, it doesn't matter, but that's at home and at the office. I have one of those notebooks open all the time next to where I sit at home, and I have one open all the time right here where I sit at work. And normally I really like writing with a pen, that pen we've talked about. It doesn't matter, this is not an affiliate link. And but I also do really like using these pencils. And as I said before, I love the way they smell. I just think they're neat. I said, I think last time, it must have been on the after show, that it's just it's a surprisingly affordable tiny bit of luxury in something that is part of what I do. And I could continue that sentence and say for work, but really it's just things I do. And then, as I also said, like I've kind of gone through, and this might have all started with me talking about how I think I have a new pencil I like, which is the matte ones. But like there's all these different Blackwings, you can find the one you like. But I've settled in on a couple of these. One interesting, not secret, but meta secret was that I started off. I ended up scribbling on about 3-4 pages. I started off with my usual super soft lead. And then I discovered, you know what? I kind of like the slightly harder, sharper lead for being able to write small, right? And like to be doing like the equivalent of like little marginal jokes and stuff like that, and little labels and stuff like that. And so I ended up coming around. My 1.5 secret was that I kind of came around a little bit to a slightly harder lead for that. But that's not really a secret. It's outside the band.
Is this the Blackwing 602 that you were using? The half the pressure, twice the speed that I'm looking at?
I'm not looking at a website, Alex.
I'm not looking at a website. I'm looking at a pencil that I'm holding. I'm looking at 2 pencils I'm holding.
You're trying to tell me as you sit there right now that there's a pencil that has that phrase written on it?
Yes, I'll send you a picture.
No, I wish you wouldn't. No, just keep trying to do the show. Listen, okay,
it's already on the way.
Okay, let me know you're done. Ready?
No, I'm listening. I'm done.
Okay. What I have brought in is a bunch of pencils because I had a feeling, I somehow had an idea that you might want to talk about pencils. So I brought in some of my pencils, and I can answer that. I think the one I like, as I mentioned numerous times now, matte or soft. There's like different ones. But the other one is and I think I can only find one of these now. Shoot, I wrote it down. Give me a second. Even had the presence of mind to bring in my notebook and my extra sharpeners and all of my things. And the one that I like, this is me killing time, so bear with me. The one that I like is a pencil that is of a type. And the one that I like is a pencil that, here we go. Blackwing 24. And it's one of those ones where it's really hard to read because it's like it's just an indentation more than printed. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes they have some of their varietals where the printing is just an impression on the barrel, and it's like not really like inked in. So you kind of got to, if you're like me, you kind of got to look at it at an angle in bright light. But
yeah, I have to use the macro camera on.
I finally put that in Control Center.
Yeah.
I love it so much. What is this one called? I think it's 24. I like that one. I feel like the softest one. See, now you sent me a picture and asking us to do that. I think the softest one that
It was on the way already. I couldn't stop it.
That's how long it takes you to send a picture of two pencils.
Yeah, I'm slow. If it's over iMessage,
Yeah.
and
As
it's
opposed
a
to
living
like
photo.
say, should we no, please stop sending me things. Should we move to Signal? Would that be better? I don't know what Signal is. The John Dickerson pencils, the hardest job in the world pencils, which come in a beautiful box. I feel like the softest ones to me. I actually have a ChatGPT thread about this. I'm not going to look it up. But yeah, it would be neat. I wonder if they sell a variety pack. I'll bet they do. Because, it would be kind of costly to just like buy a giant box, like a box of 12 of all of their pencils. But and ordinarily I would think that this line of inquiry is a little bit masturbatory. But I think when it comes to pencils, if you're going to be a pencil person, not a pencil person, Jesus Christ, I hope I'm not a pencil person. But if you're going to experiment with a pencil being a different way of interacting with a medium, it's nice to get as hard or soft as you want. And that's why all the times that I've quote unquote try to learn how to draw, and I get like a little set of like 6 drawing pencils. The first thing I do, of course, is like make a little grid of how dark and thick they all are. But here's a secret. This is pretty good.
Go on.
You think you're testing out your pencil, and you are in a sense, but testing the pencil means using the pencil. You can only learn so much by making scribble marks. Not that there's anything wrong with scribble marks, big fan. But yeah, the challenge inside the challenge, the secret in some ways is like you've got to use it for a while to know whether it's right for you. And the answer for a lot of people is like, why would I care? Or why would that make any difference to me? Which is fine. We were specifically told when, beginning of the year school supply stuff, we were specifically told to go get a box of Ticonderoga pencils. Which, I mean, it almost feels like a jam up. I imagine they chose those because they work fine and they're not very expensive and you can buy them at a drugstore. I'm not anti-Ticonderoga. I think it's kind of arguably the classic pencil of our time for most people. And it's just that, this all feels a little bit masturbatory. I apologize.
Isn't the idea of a small luxury kind of masturbatory in itself? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I would
absolutely not put it that way, but go ahead.
What else is
what's your idea? What do you think constitutes masturbation?
Pleasuring oneself.
Well, that's a little more than I wanted to get. I was going to say making a self-involved mess.
Well, see, very, very different. Those are very two different
This is why
things.
we have different words.
Yeah, well, that's why you're describing a mess that's no. I think about the Goons. Are you aware of the Goons? Mm-hmm. And they're
Peter Sellers, Spike Milligan.
No, the Gooners are a subset of people who have masturbation as one of their main forms of recreation and take a lot of pride in how they masturbate, in what ways and I find them fascinating because they're a group of people that I very much want to make fun of, but also respect because they know who they are and they know that society sees them as a mess and are trying to reclaim their image. It sounds like I'm a gooner now. I don't like this. Oh, no, I don't think using pencils or being a pencil guy is masturbatory. Like I
wasn't saying that. I was. Yeah. So, but it also could be that that's just a bit that they do for the world. You never know.
Being a pencil person could also be a bit one does for the world.
It's a really good point.
And it's just, I don't know. I like drawing circles over and over in my notebook, and I don't.
I do too. I like drawing little circles. I like making like little bubbles.
It is sort of a similar thing of like, oh, it's not about actually making the circles, but it is about letting my mind wander while I make the little circles, and then slowly realize that the circles are becoming softer because I am using less lead and I have softer lead, because I'm also using the Blackwing matte pencil because I stole a bunch from an office, and I don't know.
Recently?
Did
you wear like a cat burglar suit or anything?
Oh no, that would have been a great idea, but no,
not really. That would be a shitty reason to go to jail.
What would be a good reason to go to jail? I feel like this
Fighting
is
for our
very
freedom. Get out there. Knit that hat.
Okay.
Knit another hat.
I would like a resist.
Yeah.
Using a pencil just becomes more reflective than using a pen, because I don't think about the pen until it has completely run out.
Yeah, I think that is. I find that to be. I can't say if it's true. I find that to be accurate, and I think a million years ago I talked about this on a website. But like, I think there are certain kinds of use cases. This is really dull, but like there's all the different kinds of use cases where you could think about, like, okay, you could get like there's a brand of notebook called Write in the Rain. The pages are kind of waxy, and you can, with a pen, you can write on them in the rain. Like, that's for writing in the rain. It's like basically a Scottish notebook, and there's those kinds of things. There's the kinds of things where it's like, you think about engineering notebooks, and I don't understand a lot about this, but I've heard it said that one thing about an engineering notebook is you can't like tear out pages. You've got to fill every page. There's all those things about being able to show that this was your idea. Kind of, I don't exactly understand it, but all of those are different use cases. Signing a contract, like maybe if we're going to try and be wise about this, thinking in great detail about the pencil with which you'd most like to sign your mortgage is not going to ultimately be fruitful, because the real estate person, the lawyer, is going to hand you a pen. And they're not going to really care what pencil you like to use, right? With that said, like, I do think there are certain, I don't know, and I feel this way about, like, and I'll say this to Billy sometimes, I'm like, ooh, like, I'll hand him a notebook and a pen or a pencil, and I'll go, like, check this out, check out this combination. Because we both we each have our preferences or appreciate certain kinds of writing instruments with certain kinds of paper. Like, having a big, puffy, sketchy pencil with a toothy sketch notebook can be really cool. But whatever works for you, it's just that the thing I'm struggling to get at is sometimes the resistance is a feature, not a bug. So like when I'm just writing to like get stuff out of my brain and I'm making lists and stuff like that, and it's like tertiary or secondary to what I'm actually doing in a given moment, all I need to do is get something onto a piece of paper in a way that I can figure out what it meant later. Like, what did I write down and what is the context for why I wrote that down? Right. But
I mean, that's why I love the notebooks that you recommended forever ago. The 8x5, 8x7. I don't know. I am going to put that in notes. I don't know if you mentioned the best part, which is that it is perforated and really easy to just rip out the pages, and in just
some people really like that. Some people don't.
Way.
I like field notes. I mean, I've been around field notes, and I really more collect field notes more than I use field notes, because while I like that they fit into a pocket, they're awfully small for what I want to do. They don't stay open for what I want to do, and they're stapled. They're not like bound in a way that lays flat. Now, am I saying that to say that somebody else's preference in a notebook is bad? I'm not. I'm merely, I'm not saying this to you, but like, it's just a way of saying, well, that's the whole point. The whole point of doing something like this is to get stuff the way that you want. And I'll tell you a funny thing is, like, if you get into, I don't know, keeping a journal, let's say, I think that's where this stuff becomes so weird and personal that it's difficult to talk about in a way that's sane, because some people want to be able to write really fast. There's Bujo pens, apparently. Some people want to be able to write really fast. Some people want to be able to write with a really thin line, right? It all varies. So if I had to like summarize that, it would be to say that like in your one's given application, you find the combination of writing instrument and medium that will give you the right velocity or give you the right care, or, sorry, one more famous one that I always feel like I should mention is, what's her name? Natalie Goldberg, in Writing Down the Bones. She talks about how you should get what I would call the opposite of a Moleskine notebook. She buys like Snoopy notebooks at the drugstore and fills every square millimeter of every page with writing, with the specific idea of saying, yeah, this is like the cheapest, dumbest little Snoopy notebook you could get, but like I have no admonition about putting any mark in this book. And once you start actually writing instead of thinking about writing, then that becomes a way where you go like, oh, tick the box. That's one or two or three less things that I need to think about, and I can just go do the thing, which is ultimately the goal, is to just go do the thing.
I don't know if that was in writing, or if this was in Writing Down the Bones, Bird by Bird, or just from you, but the idea of just putting on the first page of a journal, notebook, whatever you want to use, that the first page is profound. Mm-hmm. And I like to put the first page is not profound, or just do my circles.
Still do that,
because I don't know. Now I suppose it's tradition, but I have learned that trying to use field notes for everything is silly, and the reason that I don't mind.
And again, just so we're not trying to drag any given thing. It's just that we all change. No. But I just want to clarify so it doesn't, because you have to understand, people are very, very stupid right now, and there are going to be a lot of people who say things like, "I thought you liked field notes," and I just want to be very clear that this is not a competition, and there is no affiliate link. And if you're wondering what app I'm in, it's probably Drafts. Okay, let's move on. So in this instance, that can work great. And in some instances that works. I'll tell you one thing that field notes are great for is you can deploy them in different places. So it's far from being like my primary notebook. My back right pocket notebook is actually a pile of index cards. But for a notebook, what's great is like you can deploy those in little bag in a bag situations. Like if you've got like a little bag for your cables and a battery charger or whatever, you could just have one in there. You could toss one in your in one of the pockets of your suitcase. So you've always got, this is just how my brain works, but it's all context. It's context, and it's also experience or preference, if you like, right? So like these will work great for some people in some situations, and not all people in all situations. That's all. I just wanted to get that out.
It's really, you glossed over it kind of, but for me, I think that I didn't realize how similar for me it was to software, because I can preach about just opening Drafts or TextEdit and just do the thing. But for the longest time, I was carrying around it wasn't what you mentioned, but I have one here, a Glorifier all-weather notebook, because it's like, all right, no matter what is happening.
It's called a Glorifier, Glorifier?
Yeah.
Oh, Glorifier.
Glory
2
fire.
words. Okay.
Very, very like EDC type thing, where like a pencil, and why I didn't prefer carrying a pencil around, like whatever it is.
Alex is referring to the term everyday carry. That would make it a small notebook that Alex could carry around with them.
Okay. I said EDC. I made the assumption people might know what that is, and you said
I absolutely do not want to. I absolutely do not want to cater things that I make to people who have to know what EDC means. I want everybody who doesn't know what that means to be enjoying this.
Okay.
Because I really do not want to get into a contest about taking a well-knolled photo of everything you claim to carry in your backpack.
Just
because you're all going to be dead soon, and you're going to have that to remember. Take it on your minimalist desk. That'll look good.
I
almost did work here once. Fuck me.
I'm not going to send you a picture of my desk right now, but it's most I've used it. I'm not going to send you a picture of anything.
I've added you to my host file. I actually can't see anything you do anymore. I can't even hear this. I'm doing this from memory.
Can you hear me whisper? I just thought that what I had to say must be so precious that I just always needed a way to put it down in my Glorifier all-weather notebook. And then I never did because, that similar to the waxy paper, which I guess it kind of is, it's not pleasant to write on. And, for some reason, a grocery list became
I bet it's
less
a lot like a
important to
write.
write down.
I don't know why, and this is not any kind of a drag on Scotland, but just in particular, I don't know why. I just imagine some kind of I realize this is Ireland, not Scotland, but I imagine some kind of Brendan Gleeson type character in a big overcoat, like in a moor or on a cliff or something, and he's wearing a slicker, and he's got his little tiny write in the rain notebook and a little tiny stubby pencil, and being able to I don't know, count stoats or something or whatever they do in Scotland.
That would be so. Both
Oh my
badass
God,
and
I would love
wholesome
that
at the same
job.
time.
Okay, first of all, can I just say I love
love
stoats? I love stoats. I love stoats.
Yes.
And listen,
good.
UK. I know it's different when you live with them. I would have less affection for stoats and hedgehogs and red foxes if I lived there. I understand that because in them foxes are to Englang as say raccoons.
I was just going to say that.
Or possums, probably.
Yes. To our UK friends, let's trade raccoons to stoats. Hello, UK.
Hello. Sorry, you gotta do it in the voice.
Hello.
What's all this thing counting your stoats?
Raccoons, do you?
I raised my boy, Dom Noel Gleeson, to count me stoats.
I can't get some of them.
Get back from all them movies you's in. Is he Bill? He's not Bill. What's his name? He's what Weasley is he? He's the one that marries. He's the one that marries.
Oh no, that's the.
He might be the one who died in Libya in the war. No, he's the one who marries Fleur from the Beauxbatons, who's also in Tenet. Remember the Beauxbatons?
No, not even a little. I could lie though.
Haven't seen the fourth Harry Potter movie? Is that the implication here?
Not 8 times. And
Do you know what the Wizard Cup is?
Things.
You know what you didn't remember is that you've sent me
the Goblet of Fire.
When you meet the wizard, you sent me updates to our calendar that
Mm-hmm.
were identical 3 times since Monday.
Have I really? Oh, I was like, why does Merlin keep declining our calendar invite?
I don't know how the programming works. I'm not a programmer. I'm not even a coder. I'm not a scripter. I'm not even a script kiddie. But I can tell you that we definitely start at 12:30 your time every single Wednesday forever. Always,
Yep.
always. And that can just be a thing you write down and we remember.
Don't. I thought that.
You got to remember to remember. That's what I always say. I did do one little drawing. I made a drawing of a little Italian waiter that I think is kind of cute. And so anyways, let's get past all of that, the politics of that to what's his name?
Politics of stoats, of pencils, of
The politics of what?
copper?
The pros and cons of hitchhiking? Pear pimples for hairy fish nuts? Say words. What?
Oh God! Getting past the politics of what?
Oh, trying to navigate the difficult freezing Atlantic waters, the Atlantic cod of internet opinion. Bark, bark. Mark, mark. I was looking into horns. I think the key is I want a horn that makes a noise when you squeeze it and then a noise when it contracts. I kind of want one of those hee-haw kind of horns. Wouldn't that be fun? I could play along with the clown in the basement.
Everyone says who doesn't need to hear the horn.
I should get a calliope. Can I get a little calliope? I think a little clown would play a little
don't
calliope.
control you. Go ahead.
You don't control me. Do you control me?
No,
Oh my
no one
God! And I
does.
hadn't even thought about it till now. Do you?
Oh, that would be a nightmare. Oh God.
How's that? Oh, because you'd feel guilty about all the
Yes.
things you've done so poorly. All those poor decisions I've made.
No. Oh, that sounded terrible.
What does?
That could be. Yeah. Oh, I feel terrible for all the bad decisions you've made.
I see. So I should feel shame about myself involved mess.
Oh God.
It's everywhere. This mess
They clean it up.
Merlin Dean Man the Third.
They clean.
This mess is so self-involved. Get in here, Merlin Dean Man the Third. And I like little. Oh yeah, so like I was saying, it kind of reminds me a little bit of something from you know what oblique strategies are, and our listeners can look it up. But sometimes I find you never know. Here's a phrase I haven't used in a while. Trying to find a way in to something is like something I think about because of like how my chemistry is. Sometimes in a way that might seem a little bit circuitous to other people. Certainly will seem circuitous or stupid to other people. Sometimes I need to find a way in to something. And we could take this a million ways. That could be like, well, how do you get into Doctor Who? Or how do you start writing in a journal every day or whatever, right? There's sometimes you need a way in. I think a thing to keep an eye out for, if I may say, I think I might have the experience to feel confident saying this. Be careful of the false gods, the false idols of things that feel like a way in and aren't. So like you probably don't need to buy all the notebooks and all the pencils. You don't need to try all of those unless that helps. But there's a meta skill in all of this, which is like developing a better internal barometer for whether this is getting closer to where you want to be or not, and catching yourself before you get a little silly and make a self-involved mess all over your mom's nice new towels. She specifically ask you not to do that.
Oh God. Oh, do you have
especially if you're a squirter?
First?
Excuse me? A first what?
Oh, ew. Do you have a first best, or I'm sorry, a first best and favorite when it comes to pencils or journals?
I'm not going to be cute about it. No, I don't. I was going to be cute about it and say the one, the one that would have gotten this done for you 2 days ago. That
was cute. That was good.
Thanks. See, the only way you can tell a real priority is whether it's done. Everything else is just a good idea. Or in my experience, a theoretically good idea. If it were a priority, it'd be done. I used to be good at this, and then I wasn't. And now I'm here, and I'm used to it. I think sometimes you can find a way. We're all different. Thank God. But sometimes there's one way to find a way into something is you can find like a little trick on yourself that's pretty harmless and might get what you want. And so I feel like, I don't know, I'll be real. There might be 1, 2, 3 people out there who heard me say, keep using a pencil till a secret falls out. And that might, in spite of the vast number of people who would understandably find that a sort of a silly thing for a grown person to say, there might be somebody out there who goes like, oh, that's kind of a way in. Because here's the thing. Can I spoil it?
Yes.
If I did a big post or a video or a whatever, I could conceivably, and I probably have, tried to make the same case that all of those writing people say. Whether that is Annie Lamott in her way with the shitty first draft, or whether it's, what's her head, writing down the bones with getting into the habit of writing, or, for that matter, Morning Pages, the Morning Pages lady. They're all kind of saying if not the same thing, a very similar and equally useful thing from different angles, right? Is it okay if I talk about this for a second?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
so Annie Lamott, one of my favorite things I got from Annie Lamott is what she calls a shitty first draft, which is a way of saying that, like, no matter how good a writer you become or hope to become, you've got to make your peace with the shitty first draft, which is where you get everything out and you aren't editing yourself about whether or not this is good. You're not chiding yourself about whether this is useful. You're not criticizing yourself about whether I'm far enough along. The only thing that matters is the marks on the page. And so so I'm here, I'm putting on my Annie Lamott hat here, but I feel like what she's saying is that you've got to accept the brokenness of that process. And it's not, as a phrase I find myself using more and more lately, it's not in spite of the process, it's because of the process. Another way people, again, feature not a bug thing. Yeah, it'd be nice if everything was perfect the first time you wrote it, but that's not really a reasonable goal for anybody, especially you, listener, right? So Annie Lamott says, shitty first draft. Always get okay with the fact that you're going to you might even throw this entire thing away, but you will be further along than you were before you started the shitty draft. And then in Writing Down the Bones, which is a really, really, really good book, it's kind of about, if not the craft of writing, it's almost like a way to not trick yourself, but to create conditions for yourself where you can be somebody who creates a lot of writing. And in the case of Morning Pages, Julia something. I'm sorry, I don't remember the author's name. All I know is that the time I briefly met Maria Bamford, she ran up to me and said that she does Morning Pages and then ran away. And so the idea of that is, if memory serves, is you write, I do Morning Pages. I just done my talk about creativity in the seduction community. And this little wood nymph, I never tire of telling this story. This little wood nymph, maybe the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, about 2.5 feet tall, ran up to me and said, I do Morning Pages. And then she scurried away.
Scurry is the only way to describe the way Maria Bamford moves. It's just a joyful scurry. It's kind of stoat-like, actually.
But what if I'm a factory that produces nothing but red flags? And so the third one, Morning Pages.
We've always been, all of us at some point has been a red flag factory.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the quote right, but she's really funny. And then the third one, Morning Pages, I remember sort of the whole idea of that is you write 3 pages, whatever, double spaced or whatever, but you longhand write 3 pages every day. And that's part of a process that, what does she call it? The artist's way. And I'm not here to stump for any of those as the answer to any given human problem, let alone a specific human's problem. But the good direction of Annie Lamott's advice, and why am I forgetting her name? What was her name? Who wrote Writing Down the Bones?
Julia Cameron did Artist's Way.
There you go.
I don't know who did Writing Down the Bones.
I want to say Nadine Gordimer, but that's a South African writer with toxic shock syndrome who died. What's her name? We had to read her book.
Natalie Goldberg.
Natalie Goldberg.
Yes.
Natalie Goldberg. All 3 of those folks are kind of trying to give you the same gentle piece of advice, is that, and I would not be hastily summarizing that advice if it hadn't turned out to be accurate for me over and over and over again, which is the only way to write is to write. The only way to get better, to anything, hacer, is you just got to keep the pencil moving. And you've got to keep going, whatever your version of that is. And in this case, we've given you now 3 beautiful different versions of that you can take any way you want. But you cannot, I feel personally that I benefit from writing. I don't even know what I would be like if I didn't have it. But it can be difficult sometimes, especially if it's for assignment or for deadline or for whatever it is, or you don't like the rules of what you've been told for how this thing has to be written or whatever. But in each of those instances, if you were to give that a shot with a good heart, you would find yourself writing more. It would be difficult not to. And if you can read all 3 of those and then maybe 11 more and you're still not producing words, then maybe it's not your thing. Or maybe it's not your thing right now. But all of those, I'm trying to, somewhat studiously avoid the whole issue of what's the best pencil to be a writer. I don't know. It's like asking what's the best chair to play video games, But anyhow, that was my thought on this. But I do enjoy a model like that sometimes. I mean, if I would never... I wouldn't know where to begin how to teach a class on writing. But if I did, I think that this would be an exercise. I think somewhere in the first couple weeks, keep moving your pencil till a secret falls out. That was my thought. I know that we
end on jokes, but that's a good thought.
Oh.
That is a thought.
Well, did I talk about all the things I want to talk about?
Yes,
oh,
please.
Here's my picture. Oh, I put this on the internet. It's hard to see, but you can see I do this little Italian waiter, and he says, he's fine. He's not great, but he's okay. And I like the way he looks. He has a pointy bald head, and he's got a towel over his arm, kind of. I really like drawing bow ties. I find them satisfying because it's 2 triangles and a circle in my head. So I gave him a little bow tie. He might be taking your menu, I think. It looks like you can tell from his face they do things a little bit different here. It's a familia style.
They can't see this, Merlin. They can't see this or my untucked men
that
are sitting. What? They can't see your little Italian waiter. They can't see the untucked boys. They
that's fair.
do look like boys. They
Okay.
don't look like adult men.
Is there anything else? Oh yeah, so I guess I should say what my secret was. Hey, did you find a secret? We didn't talk about that. It's okay if you did. If you, also you would totally still. Well, obviously you've done the challenge, so you've already won. But like, you could also then just say whether you found a secret, and then also if you chose to, you could say what that secret was. It's all totally up to you. I want to honor your boundaries.
If I'm away from Chicago too long, I start to feel physically unwell, and
That's what you realized?
And that's a secret that started to
Really?
fall out of
How did that come out of the writing or the scribbling? 'Cause that's super interesting.
short. I mean,
Is it because because your mind was
scribbling-
occupied with other things? Because sometimes that helps a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so much shit that's occurred to me while I'm urinating, taking a shower, or on the treadmill. Like, there's so many things where, like, my brain has to be in a slightly standby mode to realize something.
It was more that the no, because it's like there wasn't any sort of standby mode. There was no point.
You were actively
point in-
thinking about this when it was happening.
I did not have time to think about anything because the suburbs are filled with so many like areas of inaction, but that require some little bit of
some level of
attention that's
engagement.
uninteresting.
Yeah,
and,
that's one of the myriad reasons I personally dislike not just simply actively driving, but just being in a car. Is that especially driving though? It's like, boy, you sure as hell better be paying attention to what's going on.
yeah.
But your attention gets so fragmented with suburban life. It really does.
I don't call them morning pages. I just have to write 500 words before the clock gets to PM, or I feel icky. Not physically unwell, but all of them.
That's like going to the gym for some people. Probably.
Yeah, and I still do those when I'm in the suburbs, but they're bad and they make me feel bad. The suburbs, the sort of suburbs of Chicago, and just slowly start to erode and eat bad things. And I could tell, like my notebook. No, like the pencil. Literally,
you start to erode and eat bad things.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, I don't know. I just imagine somebody like Nick Nolte saying that, like in Tropic Thunder. Start to really erode, eat bad things. Light up that tree line.
I'm both expanding from all of the sodium and becoming more boring in my doodles and writing.
Ooh,
and
but you are becoming a little bit of a verse writer. That's like a beautiful poem. I love that.
By consciously carrying around a pencil instead of a pen this week, I figured out that I become more intentional with a pencil because I don't want to break it, but also that
that's interesting.
I
used to know a fella. And a friend of mine said about this guy. He walks around like he has a potato chip up his ass and doesn't want it to break. And I thought that was clever.
That's upsetting and impressive at the same time.
Middle school in Florida. I mean, it might as well be a Pulitzer, you know. Before that, the most profound thing anyone ever said in Pasco County was yelling "Free Bird." If I stay here with you, girl, things could never be the same. I'm sorry. If I stay here with you, because I'm as free as a bird. You understand? That bird you cannot change.
I
should send you a link. You're muttering again. I'm going to send you a link to what's the name of my thing? Oh yeah. This is not to pump my own pony at the Pink Pony Club, but it is just a way of if you scroll down in this, the listener will be able to see 3 of the pages that I scribbled. And can you put that into your, if you decide to
Yes.
do little notes? could
How
you put
to
that
find your pencil sharpener?
in? Nope.
No? Oh.
I don't think that has the 3 pages in it, but you could surprise me by saying that it is. I think the one you want is the historical cost of dancing medicine, which I have just sent to your internet inbox. And here's my. I only found. I mean, now that. Okay, so here's a funny thing. I think is like. And like this is a little bit, right? I mean, it's not like we're going to lose sleep over whether we found a secret in our literal pencil yet. It's not that. It's an exercise, but you commit to the exercise, and that's what makes it useful, right? So I had one at the time that I thought was good, but now I've realized there's a few other good ones in here, and I'll share them with you. I wrote down: "Do not try to explain the Philip Glass joke," which I already broke this rule, and I already tried to. I had this idea for a joke about Philip Glass that made no sense. And I realized that I wanted to explain why I thought it could be funny. And then I said to myself, do not try to explain the Philip Glass. But then I did it anyway. But luckily it became a funny bit.
Tell us the Philip Glass joke?
No, it's not even done. That's the problem. It's not even done. No. If you really want to find it, you can, but it's bad. I also realized there's 3 music videos I think might be perfect. I realize season 7 of The Walking Dead is stressing me out. I started talking a lot about top hats after last week's episode. I realized I want to think more about top hats. I wrote down something here, and it's very small, but here's what I wrote, and I think I like. I wrote down authority is a dark pattern. That's weird. I wrote down. Oh, okay. So this is one of those. Imagine I'm going to do this in my Oscar Wilde mode that I go into sometimes.
Go on.
All most people want to talk about. Belay that. All that most people want to talk about is when they did something and why you did something.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I like it.
I don't need you to agree with that. I wrote it down here.
I know.
In my experience, talking to a lot of people, they want to tell you a fact they know about something, whether or not it's like relevant in the context. But often they want to talk about like when something happened. But their curiosity is much more insightful about why other people made the decisions that they did. So it's okay for them to say, like, whatever, I went to a seance in 1992, but at the same time, that's fine for them to just stipulate, but then they'll say to you, yeah, but I thought you liked field notes. Why'd you stop using field notes? And then how do you respond when somebody asks you a question like that? What do you say? When somebody says to you something like, I thought you loved field notes, why'd you stop using field notes? How do you respond to that? What do you say?
Why do you think I stopped?
You say, why am I not a potted fern? Riddle me that, Batman. It's very hard to define why you're not anything, if you really think about it. If you were to be the sort of person who thinks about things and spent half a fucking second thinking about something, you would realize that in your own life, there's probably not that many things that you're super enthused to talk about why you stopped doing. Because a lot of times you didn't even really stop doing it. It's just the world changed. That's a secret. Oh yeah, sorry, shit. I realized that 3 of the different places I worked in high school were probably a front for something illegal. I realized that.
Can you share what?
Yeah, I can share all
they
of them.
were
It's not.
fronts
It's
for?
all in those scribbled pages. If people could be fucked to look at it.
I'm
My
trying
first job.
to see.
I'm still
I can't
talking.
read
I'm still
it.
talking.
All
I'm
right,
really
all
so
right.
important.
I'm sorry.
Important. My first job was first job outside of my family and Allied Enterprises was because my family's company was called Allied Enterprises. It wasn't. We didn't have a company, so. Sometimes I just want to talk like Richard Splett. I was hired. There's an ad in the paper in the Suncoast News, and they said, "Hey, hello. New English restaurant is opening up. Where was it, on Trouble Creek? Hey, come on out, and we need a busboy. Come on." I told you about this job, right? My first ever like real boy job. Did I ever tell you about this?
I don't think so. I thought McDonald's was the first.
I can make this really fast. I showed up in a 3-piece suit to go in and learn, about getting hired at this place. And it was this family-run-ish company that I think had the 2 people who ran it and 2 other employees. So there was the couple who I later found out were deranged. There was one guy with a mustache who worked in the kitchen, and then there was like whatever waiters. And I was being hired to be a busboy. Yeah. Anyway, I got hired by that place. I came and they said, come in, wear pants, and bring a bow tie, and you'll be our busboy. And the thing is, I showed up after school to work on my first job, and of course I want to make a great impression. I show up in my bow tie, and they said, "Okay, well, you can take off your clip-on bow tie because you need to go talk to the guy with the mustache." And the guy with the mustache has probably 2 hours of kitchen work ready for me. I've got to clean every pot. You ever clean a Yorkshire pudding pot? Like, I had to clean all of the pots. I had to I had to do all of the vegetable prep, just to be clear, I thought I was going to be a busboy in an English restaurant, but instead it turned out that I was helping the guy with the mustache in the kitchen. And then the woman of the couple, when somebody left, she would come in and tell me to put on my bow tie and come out and clear the table. Then I'd go out and I'd clear the table with my bow tie on, and I'd bring their dishes back into the kitchen, and then I'd do those dishes and then go back to helping the man with the mustache.
Oh my
This
God.
is in 1982.
No.
So then one day we drive by after a couple weekends of this. My mom said, "Oh, I'm going to go pick up my paycheck." Right, I go in. I'm going to get my paycheck, and I don't remember how much it was, but it was not anywhere near what I mean. I was probably expecting $40 and got $20 or something like that. Right?
Oh.
No. But the point is,
I thought it was going to be a lot more. No.
It's a busboy. I was a busboy in
Well, quote,
1982.
busboy. I thought maybe they would pay for you being a
Is there some
busboy.
part of your well-formed adult brain that thinks, maybe they should pay him as a prep cook? Could that be part of it? Even though that's like I was doing a lot of stuff. Oh, and then of course I would close, and so do all the disgusting things of being a closer. And it's my first job.
I thought you were implying that you were also helping some cocaine distribution, which is why I thought they would be like, "All right, let's give this kid $45."
I think I'd have to get jumped in, wouldn't I?
Wow.
Don't they jump in by making you do cocaine? I don't know how that works. They had a dartboard.
Don't either.
Point is, mom drives me by. I run in. And I got dressed up because I was going to go to the restaurant to pick up my check. And I was like, "Thanks." And I come out to the car, and Mom goes, "Everything go okay?" And I was like, yeah, because this is how I talk. And I was like, it's for less money than I thought. And like my mom looked at it, and she immediately became furious. And she said, because she knew how many hours I'd worked, and she said, "Get back in there and tell them this is wrong. It's for the wrong amount." Because, people, for years, people have been telling me things that I should be doing. And then I got to do it. So I had to go in and go, my mom says this isn't enough money or whatever. And the couple's sitting there, maybe enjoying a Guinness. And the man says, we don't have to pay minimum wage. We're British. And you know what I said? I said, "Okay, sorry." And I left. So that was that place. That seemed like kind of a jam up. There's a lot of cocaine at these other places. Oh, the telemarketing place. We shouldn't even get into that. That was really bad. But those are some of the big ones. And then I tried to draw some faces. I have to fix my uninterrupted power supply. Here's one I wrote down. This isn't worth even sharing. And then I'm going to hit the bell. Is that okay? Will you laugh really hard?
But please share it. I want to talk about the telemarketing, but all right.
Okay, we can talk about that in the after show. Give us your fuckingmoney.com. You ready to laugh really hard when I'm done with this and act like you thought it was funny? I need you to. I need your consent.
Affirm. I'm ready for yes. I am giving my enthusiastic consent.
Wind chimes. Wind chimes are like poems and farts. Everyone loves their own and hates everyone else's.
I didn't even.
Still not quite where I was hoping it would go. I thought that was pretty funny. Laugh harder. Laugh. You're losing me. You're losing me. We don't have to pay minimum wage. We're English. And then I think
it's not the last thing I expected, but I mean,
no, it's never the last thing I
there.
expected. No. Checked in on my plants. The world of power.
Wait, did they say it with an accent? Did you know they were British?
Like, did I check? No.
Well,
well, the food was really bad, so I think it was probably had to be English.
man,
Right in the rain, you are. Don your bow tie, Bobby. You're going out to bring in more dishes for you to do, guy in the mustache.
boy, the stove's in the kitchen again. Oh my!
All right.